Hi, this is Prashant Gupta. Welcome to Chanakya Online Classes. In the last class, Consignment Part 1, Introduction. Now, it is a Part 2. In the last class, we discussed about the what you class consignment, who are the parties of the consignment, consignor, consignee. So, these are the parties. Next, commission, types of commission, delicate commission, overriding commission, ordinary commission, goods sent on consignment, consignor expenses, consignee expenses, recurring, non-recurring expenses, sales on cash and credit. So these are the what topics were discussed in the part 1. Now the continuation of the part 2. Now I explain you based upon what you class some journal entries, everything, etc., etc. Now see the goods sent on consignment. First activity start between the consignor and consignee is that goods sent on consignment. It means what? Goods are delivered by the consignor to consignee. Goods are delivered by the consignor to consignee. So goods may be consigned maybe at cost or maybe at invoice price. Goods may be consigned by the consignor maybe at cost or at invoice price. But now what is invoice price? See, I will explain in the my next water class part. First of all, goods sent on consignment at cost means at cost price of the goods only. At cost price of the goods. Invoice price means for time being I am explaining cost plus inflated price. Cost plus inflated price is called as invoice price. I will discuss about the invoice price and the logic behind that okay na in the next session. Now coming to goods sent on consignment may be at cost or may be at invoice price. So if for example goods sent on consignment at cost, then what is a accounting treatment in the books of the consignor? Accounting treatment in the books of the consignor. See, consignor send the goods to consign. Then in the books of consignor, consignment account to data to goods sent on consignment. Consignment account data to goods sent on consignment. Now, why consignment account is debited? No, consignment means what? The place of the consignee. Place of the consignee. For example, if it is a Delhi, then the Delhi consignment. Okay na? Here that consignment is a receiver and the goods what goes out. Okay na? So consignment account data to goods sent on consignment. At the same time, there is no journal entry for goods sent on consignment in the books of the consignee. Consignee also maintain the books of account, but there is no journal entry for that. The next one, expenses incurred by consignor. Consignor incur expenses for sending the goods. Consignor incur expenses for sending the goods. Now the goods from Hyderabad to Delhi, such goods are transported by any means of the transport. Now in our example is a road transport. I book the goods through a transporter. So I have to pay transportation charges and I have to pay packing charges. Packing is compulsory because if it is a hot climate, according to the hot climate, how to winter climate, according to winter climate, according to rainy season, and how to according to rainy season, the packing must be made. And weighing charges and other toll gate expenses, so many expenses, blah 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 expenses will be incurred by the consignor. For all such consignor expenses, so we have to record it. And remember, consignor expenses always called as non-recurring expenses. Okay now what is the accounting treatment for the consignor expenses in the books of the consignor? Consignment account data to cash or bank. Consignment account data to cash or bank. Why consignment account is debited? Because expenses are incurred for such consignment purpose. So we have to account all expenses for the consignment. Then we can know what is a profit or loss made from that consignment. That is why consignment account, here it is a nominal account. Consignment account is a nominal account. Any account which decide the profit or loss is called as a nominal account. So consignment account is a nominal account. That account is debited. Cash or bank, what we had spent that money in the form of cash or bank, that is to be created. And there is no journal entry regarding the consignor expenses in the books of the consignee. The next one, advance from consignee. Generally, advance is taken from the new consignee only. For example, we have very good relation with the consignee for the last 2-3 years. No need of again taking advance from the consignee only. Generally, advance taken from a new consignee only, because we have to know that whether the person is genuine or not before trusting that we are handing over worth of goods to him, so that we should know that how far he is genuine. That is why only in case of a new consignee only general advance is taken. So when advance and don't misunderstand that advance and what you call as security deposit. See, these two are different. Anyhow, they are two different. Advance is fully adjusted. Advance is fully adjusted out of the sale proceeds, whereas security deposit given by the consignee, it is proportionately adjusted, but both are adjusted from the sale proceeds by the consignee only. So generally, advance from a new consignee only, it may be in the form of cash or check or DD or bills receivable. So we take the advance from the consignee not necessarily in the form of cash. It may be through a check or a demand draft, or it may be a bills receivable. Okay, na? Then what is the journal entry for the advance received from the consignee? In the books of consignor, if it is a cash account debtor; if it is a check, bank account debtor; if it is a bills receivable account debtor. Who is the giver? That one, consignee. That is why consignee is a giver to consignee account. Now same advance in the books of the consignee, that is in the books of consignee, consignor account debtor to cash if it is a cash, check if it is a bank, check if it then bank, bills payable here, receivable here, payable. So here, why here a consignor is debited? Because consignee's point of view, consignor is a debtor because he is given that money, that advance is given now. So till the sales proceeds are adjusted, consignee treat consignor as a debtor. The next one, expenses incurred by consignee. See, consignor incurred expenses, consignee also incurred expenses. Now that if expenses are incurred by consignee, such expenses will be reimbursed, remitted or paid by whom? By consignor only. Definitely consignor will reimburse, give it back to the consignee. Consignee, you spent, for example, so 5,000 or 10,000, whatever you have spent, I will give back the such expenses. Okay, now, so that is called as a reimbursement. Reimbursement means paying back. Okay, now, so consignee incur two types of expenses. They are recurring expenses and non-recurring expenses. Non-recurring expenses means expenses incurred once in the life of the product. Example, from the place of transport, from the consignee's place of transport to consignee's godown, in between, what are the expenses are incurred, they are called non-recurring expenses. What can be the, for example, I received goods through a transport, like for example, SRMT transport, okay na, I received. Then that truck is at the consignee's business spot. Now, we have to unload such goods from the truck and load into our own vehicle. Loading, unloading expenses. Number 2, packing expenses. Number 3, we have to pay octroi. Entry tax we have to pay, and some labor charges also we have to pay. And there are insurance, transit insurance, because during the transport there may be accidents or anything else happen. That is why we have to take a transit insurance, not a go down insurance, please. Okay, na? Transit insurance. Such a transit insurance expense also called as non-recurring expenses. And recurring expenses means once goods are stored in the godown of the consignee, he incur expenses. Example, advertisement expenses and godown rent expenses, salaries of the storekeeper, salaries of the showroom. So these are the recurring expenses, irrespective of the what you call as sales, whatever the expenses are incurred. So that is why they are called recurring expenses. And these non-recurring expenses is also called as a product expenses, direct expenses, while recurring expenses are called as a period expenses, okay, na, selling expenses. Now, why you may ask, sir, why there is a differentiation between a recurring expenses and non-recurring expenses? Okay, the reason is that while calculating the closing stock, which is at the consignee's go down, then we have to consider only non-recurring expenses but not recurring expenses. Actually, you did not face this problem in what you call as final account, because the closing stock is given either at the foot of the trial balance or in the trial balance closing stock is given. So, you are not bothered about the calculating the closing stock. But coming to the consignment chapter, you have to calculate the closing stock. They will not give you ready-made figure. So, you have to calculate the closing stock. While calculating the value of the closing stock, what are the expenses to be considered? That is a main important point. That is why here we consider only direct expenses. In other words, non-recurring expenses only we have to consider. So here for recurring expenses and non-recurring expenses, we follow only one entry. Okay, na? That is accounting treatment in the books of the consigner: consignment account debtor to consignee, consignment account debtor to consignee, because expenses what are incurred for the consignment, that is debited. Consignment account debtor to consignee. Consignment account is a nominal account. That account is to be debited. Generally, what entry we pass? Commission account debtor to consignee. Then what is the next entry? That commission is incurred for what purpose? Consignment purpose. Consignment account debtor to commission. So commission is mutually even cancelled, nullified. What is left? Consignment to consignee. Now, same consignee expenses in the books of the consignee, that is consigner account debtor to cash or bank. Now, why he written a consigner account? Because such expenses he will recover from whom? Consigner. So, till such expenses recovered, he means consignee, treat consigner as his debtor. That is why consigner account debtor to cash or bank. Next one, coming to the sale of goods. See, goods sold by consignee. Goods sold by consignee may be on cash or may be on credit. Maybe on cash or maybe on credit. So, if the goods are sold on cash, then what is the accounting treatment? See, in the books of the consigner, consignee account debtor to consignment account. Here, consignee account is debited, because consignee has to refund that money to whom? To consigner. So, for example, if I am a consigner, my consignee has to refund that money to me. So, till that money received from the consignee, I treat my consignee as my debtor. That is why consignee account is to be debited to consignment, because it is income, nominal account, it should be credited. The next one, in the books of the, same in the books of the consignee, that is cash or bank account debtor to consigner, because he received money. So, that cash or bank to consigner. Why he created to consigner account? Because this money belongs to whom? Consigner. So, consigner is a creditor. Till that money is refunded to the consigner, he is a creditor to me. So, consigner account is to be created. Next one, if the goods are sold by consignee on a credit basis and del creditor commission is given. For example, del creditor commission is given, is extra commission given generally in case of a credit sale. When del creditor commission is given, then the collection of the credit sales is on the shoulder of the whom? On the consignee only. Consignee has to collect the credit sales. So that is why now here what I am saying, that in the books of consigner, consignee account to debtor to consignment account. Why consignee account is debited? Because consignee is responsible to collect, is a debtor. That is why consignee account debtor, and consignment account is a income sales, that is why it is a credit. In the books of consignee, that is, see, written here cash or bank to consigner. Yes or no? So in the books of, on the basis of what you call as credit basis, I cash or bank, I record actually here debtors account, sundry debtors account debtor to consigner account. I can also write this entry. Here, this entry I recorded from the point of view of that I collect money, collection from the debtors. So that is why then cash account to debtor to debtors. So directly what I did, direct entry I written. First here I can write debtors account debtor to consignor account. Thereafter when I collect the money, then cash account debtor to debtors. So debtors if you mutually cancel, it left cash account debtor to consignor. So that is also one of the reason I recorded here cash account debtor to consignor. Why? The reason, another reason, when delegatory commission is given, consignor is not bothered about that collection problem. The given commission, that's your responsibility to collect that. Next one, goods sold by consignee on credit, no delegatory commission is given. So delegatory commission is not given. This is whose responsibility? The collection responsibility is on the consignor only. Now in the books of the consignor, what is the journal entry? Consignee account debtor to consignment account. Okay na? Here also same. Sir, you said na collection is a responsibility of the consignor. Then why you debited here? I will tell you. Okay na? I put a star mark also here. I tell you the reason. Now in the books of the consignee, debtor account debtor to consignor. He says that no ma'am, I am not bothered about the collection problem. He will directly correct from the debtors only. I am not responsible for that. So debtor account is debited. To consignor. Okay na? So whenever for example is not collected, he will not bother about it. Now for example here I put a star mark here. Here consignee account debtor to consignment in future, for example, such sales are not collected. Bad debts becomes bad debt. Then consignor pass a journal entry like this: consignment account debtor to consignee. Consignment account debtor to consignee. In that case, consignee amount, payment amount will be reduced by the amount of the bad debts. Okay na? Star mark. Okay. Next, commission earned by consignee. What is the entry? See, it is this entry we can write for any type of commission, whether it is a simple commission or a delegate commission or a overriding commission, whatever may be the case, you can write this entry. So commission is given or commission is calculated on total sales, on credit sales, on difference. So we will work out the problems on commission. Now right now I will explain you commission. For example, if it is a simple commission or it is a general commission, that commission is calculated on the total sales. If it is a delegate commission, it is to be calculated on the credit sales. But in ICA study material, they said that it is to be calculated on the total sales. Unless otherwise they mention specifically to calculate on the credit sales, you should not calculate on the credit sales. You calculate only on the total sales only. Okay na? Next, overriding commission. Overriding commission is calculated on the difference between actual selling price and cost price, because he made extra efforts to sell at higher price. Okay na? So on the difference amount only, our overriding commission is calculated as mentioned in the problem. Okay na? As mentioned in the problem. Why I use this word? Because the difference between actual selling price or cost price or actual selling price or invoice price. So it depends upon the problem only. But generally it is calculated on the what we class difference amount only. If nothing is mentioned, it is also to be calculated on the total sales. Now, in case of that commission, what is journal entry? Consignment account debtor to consignee. So, consignment account is debited because expenses. Consignee is to be given, that is, he is a creditor till the time amount is paid. So, that is why it is called credited. In the books of consignee, entry is that consignor account is debited because consignor is a liable. Consignor is liable for that amount. That is why consignor is a debtor, and while commission is an income. That is why it is to be credited. Next one, abnormal loss. Abnormal loss during transit or at go down of consignee. Now, what is abnormal loss? See, normal loss and abnormal loss, these are the two losses. Normal loss and abnormal losses. Normal loss means it is a expected loss, but it is an unavoidable loss. Expected expected but unavoidable loss. See, expected, I know that in advance such loss can be happen. Now for a small example, when you boil a water, evaporation, can you avoid it? No, you cannot avoid it. You know in advance that boiling, when you boil, evaporation, so you can't avoid it, expected loss. Similarly, leakage. For example, if you shift the oil from one container to another container, then there is a leakage. And in, for example, in a cement industry, then when you the filling of bags, there is a dust in the air. You cannot avoid it. So they are called as a normal losses. And in a manufacturing or in a business, when you lift the articles, so there may be a damage. You cannot avoid them. So that is called as a normal loss, expected loss. Okay, na? Unavoidable loss. Such a normal loss, you have to recover from the customer only. You have to recover from the customer only. And for normal loss, no insurance is accepted by the insurance company. For all normal losses, no insurance is available. And abnormal loss, coming to the abnormal loss. Abnormal loss means a loss. Abnormal loss means a loss which is avoidable. Which is avoidable and unexpected. Yeah, see the thing. Normal loss, unavoidable, expected. Abnormal loss is avoidable but unexpected. I don't know the fire accident, and I don't know when during the transit there is accident. So, but if I take precautions, I can avoid it. Unexpected, but I can avoid it. So, abnormal loss. Who has to bear the abnormal loss? Definitely, owner has to bear the loss. But when the question comes to bear the loss by the owner, what he will do? He will transfer that, he will take an insurance policy. He will take an insurance policy on that such goods. Insurance company will reimburse that loss. So, for all abnormal losses, there will be definitely insurance. So, insurance will be covered. Now, abnormal loss, it is an unexpected loss but avoidable loss. In the books of consignor, and thinking sir, here no insurance. No insurance. In case of no insurance, consignor, in the books of consignor, profit or loss or abnormal loss account debtor to consignment account. No insurance. Totally loss, and there is no insurance means who has to bear the loss? Consignor has to bear the loss. That is why profit and loss account or abnormal loss account debtor to consignment account. You can transfer directly to a profit and loss account, or you can create an account abnormal loss. If you create abnormal loss to consignment account, and later profit and loss account debtor to abnormal loss. Abnormal loss if nullify, then profit and loss account debtor to consignment account also you can pass a journal entry. In the books of consignee, no entry, because abnormal loss is at the risk of whom? At the risk of the consignor only. Next one. For example, if abnormal loss with a part insurance, there is no 100% insurance, 60%, 50%, 40%, some portion of the insurance is covered. In that case, that uncovered portion is transferred to profit and loss account. Uncovered portion is transferred to profit and loss account. Covered portion is insurance account, because insurance company has to pay. That is, they are a debtor, insurance company account debtor to consignment account, because I record on the consignment account the credit side. Now you may ask, sir, it is a loss, no sir? So consignment account is a nominal account, loss is to be debited but why you created to the consignment account? Okay, now I question you before answering this question, I question you that in intermediate also, in the first year, you written on the credit side of the trading account goods lost by fire. Okay, na? Yes or no? Now coming to this point, here why consignment account is created with the amount of the loss. The thing is that on the debit side of the consignment account, you written 100 goods. Example, 100 goods. Out of that, 70 goods are sold. What is the balance of goods? 30 goods. out of 30 goods, 10 goods lost, abnormal loss. Okay na? So 10 goods over. How many goods still left? 20 goods. Now see, for example, if I prepare a consignment account, here 100 goods, whatever the value or units, whatever, 70 goods are sold, 10 goods are abnormal loss, 20 goods closing stock. Now my stock is a tally or not? Yes, tally it. So it is a what they class stock tallying purpose only I am recording on the credit side. But don't think that loss is credited to the consignment account. Okay na? Next one, abnormal loss with full insurance. Abnormal loss with full insurance. It means that I am getting back the entire stock loss value from the insurance company. Insurance account data to consignment account. Insurance account data to consignment account credit side I will write insurance amount. Okay na? In the books of consignee, no entry. Now you can say that, sir, for example, now one thing you should remember, in case of abnormal loss, whether it is a 7A or 7B or 8C, whatever, in the three cases, you should remember very important point that your abnormal loss should not be more than the cost, should not be less than the cost. It should be exactly at cost of the goods only. Remember, there is a valuation of the abnormal loss also. I will, in the next session, in the next part, I will explain you calculation of the abnormal loss. Calculation of the abnormal loss, calculation of the unsold stock also I will cover in the next session. So, abnormal loss, for example, if it is a 10,000. Okay now, if it is 10,000. So, if you recover, for example, here no insurance, you should write on the credit side 10,000 only. Now, for example, insurance covered 6,000, but you should write 10,000, remaining 4,000, you should write loss. And for example, your insurance is 10,000, you should write 10,000. Sometimes insurance may be recovered more than the 10,000 rupees. Sir, is it possible? We will keep aside whether it is possible or not, because as a theoretical point of view, practical point of view, it is possible. Okay na? So, but I should not tell those things in the platform of the online. Okay na? So, what I say, it is a possible. That is why it is covered only. When insurance amount is more than the loss, but you should not create the consignment account more than the abnormal loss. The thing is that there should not be any abnormal profits and abnormal losses in consignment account. It should be exactly only to the cost only, because consignment account is a regular account. So it is not a joint venture. It is not a one-time activity. So it is a permanent nature. So therefore, all the profits and the losses should be normal only. It should not affect the abnormal. That is why we should take only at a cost only. The next one, unsold stock or closing stock in the consignee's godown. See, unsold stock or closing stock always at the risk of the consignor only. Now, what is a valuation principle of the closing stock? Same like inventory valuation, accounting standard 2, what it suggested, cost or market price, whichever is lower. Okay, na? Same principle also we apply here. Now, in the books of the consignor, stock account debtor to consignment account, stock account, or you can say closing stock account debtor to consignment account. So, cost values and market values, if both are given, then whichever is less, that should be taken on the consignment account credit side. Okay na? Now this is the logic. 100 rupees on the debit side, 70 units are sold, 10 units abnormal loss at cost, and 20 rupees closing stock. Okay na? Next one, profit on consignment. Now, when credits are compared with debits, when credits are compared with the debit, there is a difference maybe on the debit side called as profit, or there is maybe a difference on the credit side called loss. If it is a profit, okay na, thinking a positive profit, then consignment account debtor to profit and loss account, general profit and loss account, because I have no, I am a consigner, I have so many consignments. I have so many consignment, not only Delhi consignment. I may have the Chennai consignment, I have maybe the Mumbai consignment, I may have the Kolkata consignment. So there are so many consignment. From all the consignments, I receive a profit. So I will transfer all the profits of the consignment to my profit and loss account, general profit loss account. Consignment account to general profit loss account. And there is no journal entry in the books of the consignee. There is no journal entry in the books of the consignee because consignee is not concerned with the profit or loss. Next, consignee settlement. See, consignment account is a nominal account, I said. Then consignee account is a personal account. Consignee account is a personal account. So, at the end of the, see, first consignee spent some expenses. Consignee entitled to receive the commission. Consignee sold goods. So consignee entitled to his expenses back. Consignee entitled to receive commission. So example. Now if I prepare consignee account. Now consignee account credit side, I write expenses. Say for example 100 rupees. Is the commission, say for example, it is 200 rupees, and sales made by the consignee, say for example 1000 rupees. Consignee sold goods for rupees 1000. Consignee expenses, say for example 100. Consignee commission, say for example 200. Now 1000 minus 300, 700 rupees to be remitted by whom? To be remitted by the consignee. To be transferred, that money should be transferred by consignee to whom? Consigner. So I should get from the consignee. So in the books of the consigner, cash or bank account debtor to consignee because I received money. So for example, if that money is not received, then what can I do? I will simply write carry down only. Then this entry you need not to pass. What is 10th one? Consignee settlement. If the consignee account is settled, then only you should write this entry. If the account is not settled by the consignee, then you should write here carry down and here no entry. Okay na? Now in here I took a settlement. That is why I written entry cash or bank account debtor to consignee account. Now in the books of the consignee, consigner account debtor to cash or bank. Now I simply explain you. See, consigner prepare consignee account while consignee prepare consigner account. If you, for example, take the mirror effect, consigner refers consignee. That's it. All the transaction, just changing the names only. Okay, na? Everything will be same. And where the in the books of the consigner, consignee amount, what you call settlement amount, same in the books of the consignee, consigner account settlement also should be same only. Okay, na? Consigner account debtor to cash or bank. The last one, goods sent on consignment transfer to trading account. Now this entry, see this entry, I am a consigner, I send so many goods to consignee, so many times I send goods. So I have to know that what are the worth of the goods sent by me, what is the value of how much goods I sent to consignee. So to know that, what I do, I will prepare a goods sent on consignment account here. Na? Goods sent on consignment account I prepared here. So that account I prepared. Now is the time of closing that account. So that account I will close by transferring to a trading account. Why is a trading account? Because I am a consigner. So consigner means, see, I am a consigner, at the same time I am a trader. First of all, I am a trader. For example, my name is Prashant. So I directly sell goods. And I also sell goods through the consignment. When I directly sell the goods, me is a trader. When I sell the goods through consignee, then I am a consigner. So I prepare a trading account covering my direct sales and also covering the what you call as consignment transactions. Now I purchased, for example, 1000 goods. I purchased. I means trader. I means trader. I purchased 1000 goods. Out of that, for example, 600 goods I sent on consignment. So how many goods are still left with me as a trader? 400 goods. So those 400 goods I sold, out of 400 goods, I sold 300 goods. How much balance left? 100. I repeat once again. 1000 goods with me. I am a trader. I sent 600 goods on consignment. So remaining goods with me as a trader, 400. Out of that, 300 goods I directly sold to my customers. Still, unsold stock with me as a trader, 100. So out of my 1000, how much goods are transferred to consignee? 600. It means in a trading account, out of 1000, I should deduct 600. So here trading account is what? Credited. That is why goods sent on consignment account data to trading account. No entry in the books of the consignee. Okay na? So these are the what journal entries. In my next session, next part, I will also explain some important points on the consignment. Okay na? I request you, the students, please screenshot this one. Screenshot. Okay na? So I know very well the practical difficulty of me is that letters are written letters in small because lengthy of topic. Okay, that is why I written one in small letters. So you better take a screenshot. I will move aside. You take a screenshot and then you copy.